We often hear that success is a matter of luck or being in the right place at the right time. But after nearly a century of life, I can assure you that prosperity is, above all, a matter of mindset. If on January 1st, 2026, I found myself penniless and without a single asset to my name, I wouldn't waste a second on pointless lamentations or looking for someone to blame. I would understand that, although the capital has vanished, the system that created it remains intact within my mind, and that is the most valuable asset anyone can possess. Starting over is not a tragedy if you have a proven method and the discipline to execute it without straying from the established path. Most people freeze up in the face of scarcity because they confuse their self-worth with their bank balance, making the mistake of making decisions based on panic rather than logic. If you're starting the year with zero, you have an advantage that the wealthy often forget: the absolute freedom of someone who has nothing to protect and everything to gain. You don't have to maintain a social facade, pay for the upkeep of luxuries that aren't yours, or live in fear of losing a status that no longer exists. This financial nakedness is, in reality, a privileged fighting position that allows you to move with an agility and aggressiveness that comfort usually stifles. My plan for January would be as simple as it would be ruthless. I would stop every capital drain, no matter how small, eliminating any expense that doesn't directly contribute to my survival or my ability to earn a living. I would live with an austerity that others might consider extreme, not out of masochism, but from the rational understanding that every dollar saved today is a soldier recruited for my future army. I would sell the unnecessary, cancel superfluous subscriptions, and reduce my existence to the bare essentials, immediately creating a surplus where before there was only a deficit. Controlling spending is the first victory in the war for financial independence, and it's a battle won in the mind before it's won in the wallet. During February and March, my sole objective would be to maximize my income through the hardest and most efficient work I've ever done, regardless of the job's prestige. I wouldn't pursue my passion at this stage. I would seek the highest possible cash flow, selling my time to the market wherever the demand is most urgent and best paid. I would work on multiple fronts, using every hour of the day to obsessively accumulate capital, knowing that this effort is the engine that will pull me out of this hole. The goal is to reach the first $5,000 in savings, a figure that serves as initial fuel for the propulsion system I'm building. Once that amount is reached, the focus from April to June will be on building the emergency wall, a reserve of $10,000 that acts as insurance against life's unpredictability. Many make the mistake of investing too early, running out of cash in the face of an unexpected event, and being forced to sell their positions at the worst possible time. This cash wall isn't for speculation or luxuries. It's to ensure that my thinking remains rational and that I never have to make a decision dictated by immediate need. The peace of mind that comes with having cash in reserve is an intelligence multiplier that allows you to see opportunities where the desperate only see problems. In July, the plan would take a strategic turn. I would stop investing solely in accumulating cash and start investing in my own capacity to generate superior value. I would use a portion of my savings to acquire technical skills or specialized knowledge that would allow me to charge significantly more per hour. Education that produces tangible results is the investment with the highest return on capital on earth, especially when you're starting from a low base. I'm not looking for decorative degrees, but rather practical tools that will make me harder to replace in the job market or in the world of independent business. In August and September, with increased earning capacity, I would begin sowing the seeds of what will eventually become my passive income stream, but in an extremely conservative and prudent manner. I wouldn't chase after the next big thing or get rich quick schemes. I would look for straightforward, productive, and easily understood assets that generate consistent income over time. I would buy shares in solid companies that manufacture products people will always need, or I would look for ways to acquire physical assets with real intrinsic value. The key is patience and a deep understanding of what you're buying. If I can't explain the business, I simply won't invest my money in it. October and November would be months of consolidation and resistance against the social pressure that usually increases as the end of the year approaches and the world encourages rampant consumerism. It's the time when most people abandon their savings plans to enjoy holidays they can't afford, destroying months of progress in a week of excess. I would remain vigilant, remembering that my goal is perpetual freedom, not the momentary gratification of a dinner party or an expensive gift. Discipline during this period is what separates those who are merely passing through prosperity from those who have decided to move into it permanently. Finally, December would be the month for analysis and planning for year 2, where compound interest and leveraging my new skills would begin to work at full capacity. In 12 months, I will have gone from absolutely nothing to having a safety net, greater earning capacity, and my first assets working for me. It's not magic. It's the persistent application of rationality over the impulsive behavior that dominates the masses. The 2026 plan isn't just a financial roadmap, it's a character transformation process that makes you capable of navigating any crisis with serenity. Success isn't about avoiding problems, but about developing the mindset to systematically solve them while others get lost in complaining and lamenting. Every small saving and every hour of study in this plan are bricks in a fortress that, once completed, will be impregnable to the fluctuations of the global economy. Wealth is a byproduct of the value you bring to the world and the wisdom with which you manage the resources you receive in return for that value. By the end of this first year, you will no longer be a financial castaway, but the captain of a solid vessel who knows exactly where they are headed. Patience is the ingredient most young people disdain, yet it's what allows small efforts to grow into mountains of capital over time. Don't expect spectacular results in the first month. Focus on consistency in your approach, because time will do the heavy lifting for you if you don't interrupt the process. Accumulating wealth is often tedious and repetitive, but it's precisely this monotony that filters out those who lack the necessary character to be truly free. Financial fireworks usually end in ashes, while the slow burn of prudence builds empires that last for generations. On this path, you'll learn to value silence and discretion regarding your plans, preventing the envy of others or the noise of critics from interfering with your inner growth. You don't need anyone's approval to execute your financial rescue plan. Your results will be the only explanation you need to give when the change is evident to everyone. True confidence doesn't come from boasting about what you're going to do, but from the quiet satisfaction of seeing your numbers improve month after month thanks to your discipline. Save your energy for execution and don't waste it on conversations with people who don't share your long-term vision or your analytical rigor. Rationality involves recognizing your own weaknesses and building systems that protect you from your less intelligent impulses, such as the desire to buy something for a momentary feeling of well-being. By automating your savings and investments, you eliminate the human element of temptation and allow logic to govern your financial destiny over your emotions. The financial market is a mechanism that transfers money from the reactive to the reflective, and this plan firmly positions you in the latter group. There is nothing more powerful than a clear mind operating on a well-structured plan over a sufficiently long period. As you accumulate your first assets, you'll notice your relationship with work changing. You no longer work out of desperation, but out of choice and a desire to increase your impact. This freedom of choice is the first great dividend your new life pays you, and it's far more valuable than any luxury item you could buy with money. Having options is the true definition of wealth, and those options are bought with the discipline of the previous months when you decided not to spend what you earned. Every sacrifice you make today opens a door for tomorrow, giving you the opportunity to design a life aligned with your values, not your debts. The knowledge you gain during this year of rebuilding will be armor that protects you for the rest of your life, no matter how many times the economic landscape changes. You will learn to identify true value beneath the surface price, understand the incentives that drive people, and spot bubbles before they burst on the unwary. This worldly wisdom is what Warren and I have cultivated for decades, and it's what has allowed us to survive crises that wiped out seemingly more brilliant investors. Intelligence without discipline is a useless tool, but sound judgment applied consistently is an unstoppable force of nature. Often, people give up just before compound interest starts to show its true colors, frustrated by the seemingly slow initial progress in the first few months. You must understand that wealth is built asymmetrically. At first, it seems like nothing is happening, but then there's a tipping point where growth becomes vertical and explosive. Your only job is to stay in the game long enough to reach that point, avoiding the catastrophic mistakes that knock you off the board prematurely. Financial survival is the prerequisite for legendary success. And this 2026 plan is designed precisely to ensure that initial survival. Don't compare yourself to those who seem to be making a lot of money fast with the latest financial fad. Remember that most of them will disappear as quickly as they appeared. Focus on your own process, your own safety net, and your own skills, building on solid rock, not the shifting sands of speculation. Lasting success is the result of consistently doing a few right things and avoiding hundreds of wrong ones for years. Being reliable, hard-working, and thrifty may seem old-fashioned, but it's the surest and most direct path to the top of the financial mountain. Integrity is an asset that doesn't appear on the balance sheet, but determines access to the best opportunities the world has to offer business people. If you keep your word, are transparent in your dealings, and seek mutual benefit, the system will ultimately provide you with more resources than you could obtain through cheap trickery. In your rebuilding year, cultivate your reputation with the same zeal you cultivate your savings, because a good reputation is a capital multiplier in times of crisis. Rational people prefer to do business with other rational people, and this network of trust is the glue that holds great fortunes together over time. When December arrives and you look back, you'll realize that the accumulated money is just the trophy, but the true prize is the person you've become in the process. You've developed an iron will, a clear vision, and analytical skills that will serve you well in facing any challenge life throws your way. You're no longer a victim of the economy or a spectator of your own destiny. You're a conscious player who understands the rules of the game and knows how to use them to your advantage. Financial independence is, ultimately, a form of spiritual maturity where you cease to depend on the world and begin to create value in your own sovereign way. Remember that 2026 will pass regardless, whether you do anything about it or not. The only difference will be your position at the end of those 365 days of constant opportunity. You can choose to spend the year complaining about inflation and politics, or you can choose to use it to build the foundation of your ultimate freedom through this exact plan. I've been on both sides of the coin, and I can assure you that the satisfaction of discipline is infinitely greater than the fleeting pleasure of irresponsible consumption. Take control of your life today. Start with what you have, and don't stop until the system you've started is self-sustaining. Financial education doesn't end with a video or a book. It's an ongoing process of observing reality and adjusting your strategies based on the facts you encounter. Stay curious, remain humble in the face of the market, and never stop asking yourself what you're missing in every financial situation you face. Arrogance is the prelude to ruin, while intellectual humility is the safeguard that allows you to correct your course before the mistake becomes fatal. Learn from the best, study the failures of others, and always maintain a safety margin in every step you take toward your ultimate goal. Money is an excellent servant but a terrible master. If you work only for it, you'll end up being its slave. But if you make it work for you, it will be your best ally for the rest of your life. This 2026 plan is about putting money in its place, turning it into a tool for freedom and not a chain of constant worries that keep you up at night. By freeing your mind from financial stress, you unleash your creative potential to dedicate yourself to things that truly bring meaning and purpose to your journey through this world. There is no greater wealth than being the master of your own time and your own decisions without having to answer to anyone but your own conscience. As you progress, you'll find that temptations become more sophisticated, but your resilience will also grow thanks to the daily training of this first rigorous year. What once seemed like an unbearable sacrifice will become a natural and enjoyable habit because you'll understand the true value of what you're building with each wise decision. Strategic frugality isn't deprivation, it's the conscious choice of a better future over a mediocre present devoid of real meaning. You're buying your freedom in installments, and each payment you make with your savings brings you closer to the moment when the world is your playground, not your prison. Don't be discouraged by days when it seems like you're not making progress. Growth is often invisible until it becomes undeniable through its own cumulative magnitude. Faith in compound interest requires a vision that transcends the current week or month, focusing on the decade and the generational impact of your actions today. You are the ancestor of your future self, and that man or woman will be eternally grateful for the courage you had in 2026 to start fresh with a serious plan. Destiny is what we do with the cards we're dealt, and this plan is how you ensure that, regardless of the hand you're dealt, you always win the game in the end. Resilience isn't something you can buy. It's forged in the daily fulfillment of small promises you make to yourself when no one is watching or applauding. If you said you'd save that amount, save it. If you said you'd learn that skill, learn it. This inner integrity is the core of all lasting and real success. In a world full of inconsistent people, the individual who does what they say becomes a magnet for the best opportunities and most fruitful partnerships. Be that person in 2026, and you'll see how doors that were once closed begin to open on their own before your determined and rational approach. Investing in productive assets is an act of faith in the future and in humanity's ability to solve problems and create value despite challenging circumstances. By becoming an investor, you join the ranks of those driving progress, reaping a share of the profits that this progress naturally and inevitably generates. You are not a gambler seeking luck. You are a partner in global growth who understands that well-allocated capital is the lifeblood of civilization. This perspective will grant you a calmness that others lack when the headlines try to frighten you with the latest crisis. The wall of security you'll have completed in June will be your mental sanctuary, the place from which you'll observe the market chaos with the necessary distance to make smart, cool-headed decisions. While others sell out of panic or buy out of greed, you'll act with surgical precision, based on intrinsic value and not the noise of popular sentiment. That psychological edge is worth more than $1 million in the hands of someone who can't control their emotional impulses in the face of price volatility. Learn to embrace volatility as the source of opportunities that will allow you to buy cheaply what others are letting go of out of irrational fear. The transition from saver to investor, which occurs in the second half of the year, is the most significant leap in the evolution of anyone aspiring to true financial independence. It's the moment you cease to be the sole driver of your wealth and begin to oversee a fleet of financial engines working in parallel for you. It requires a shift in mindset, moving from absolute protection to intelligent risk management and the pursuit of sustainable returns over time. Don't fear this change. Prepare for it through study and observation, and enter the world of investing with the caution of someone who knows that capital is hard to earn but easy to lose. If you keep your expenses low, even as your income starts to rise, you'll accelerate the capital accumulation process in a way that will surprise you with its speed and impact. The lifestyle trap is the most common mistake of the middle class, increasing spending at the same rate as income, thus remaining in the same relative position of dependency. You'll break that cycle by keeping your needs under control while your surplus grows, allowing the gap to become a cascade of capital flowing into your investments. This selective austerity is the best-kept secret of the truly wealthy, those who own the money and are not owned by the things money buys. In November, when you take stock, you'll realize that most of your progress hasn't come from a stroke of luck, but from the accumulation of hundreds of good decisions. You'll have avoided unnecessary debt, invested in your knowledge, and resisted the temptation of easy consumption that ruins so many others. This chain of daily victories is what builds a successful life, not a single significant event that happens by chance once in a lifetime. Mastering your own finances is, in reality, mastering your own will. And that's an achievement no one can ever take away from you, no matter what happens to the economy. December will be a month of gratitude and looking ahead, seeing how 2027 unfolds before you, not as a threat, but as a field of infinite possibilities for continued growth. You'll no longer be starting from scratch. You'll be in a position of strategic advantage, with a solid foundation and a sharp mind to detect and capitalize on what the future holds. The plan has worked not because I'm a genius, but because the laws of economics and human nature are consistent for those who dare to study and respect them. You've passed the first-year test, and now you're ready for the big leagues of wealth building and positive social impact. Don't let initial success make you arrogant or lead you to believe you no longer need to learn or strive with the same intensity as at the beginning. The market has a painful way of reminding those who believe themselves invincible after a period of good fortune or sustained progress of their humility. Maintain your hunger for knowledge and prudence in your spending, treating each new dollar with the same respect you showed the first dollar of January. Wealth is a garden that needs constant tending, weeding out complacency, and watering the plants of saving and rational investment. Your example will inspire others, perhaps your family or friends, but don't try to convince them with words. Convince them with the strength of your results and the peace of your character. Most people aren't ready for the discipline this plan requires, and that's okay. Everyone must walk their own path according to their own convictions and needs. You have chosen the path of reason, and that is a lonely road at first, but one that becomes crowded with valuable people as you approach the summit. Enjoy the company of those who share your values and learn from those who have gone further than you on this fascinating journey toward freedom. Financial independence allows you to be more generous, not only with your money, but also with your time and knowledge, helping others find their own path to wisdom. Once your needs are met by your assets, your focus can shift to how to leave the world a better place than the one you found when you started your plan in 2026. That is the true goal of wealth, the ability to serve noble causes and support talent and effort where it is most needed for the common good. By following this plan, you are not only saving yourself, but also becoming a pillar of stability for your community and your descendants. Never forget January 1st, 2026, the day you decided that zero wasn't a destination, but a starting point for a life of excellence and purpose. Keep that memory fresh so you always cherish the freedom you've built and never fall back into the habits that led you to that initial scarcity. Wisdom is often gained through pain and hardship, but it's preserved through remembering and daily practicing the principles that brought us out of the darkness. You are now the architect of your own destiny, and the blueprints you've followed this year are the foundation for everything you'll build in the decades to come. Rationality is a discipline that strengthens with use, becoming more natural and effective with each decision you make based on facts, not wishful thinking. By the end of this 12-month cycle, your mind will function differently, automatically filtering out the noise and focusing on what truly drives your progress. This neurological shift is permanent and gives you a competitive edge in any area of life where you choose to invest your energy and time. You've hacked the system of mediocrity to install the software of conscious prosperity, and the results will be evident to everyone around you. If the world goes into crisis during your rebuilding year, don't panic, rejoice, because crises are the biggest bargains the market offers to those with cash and courage. A crisis is simply the process by which capital seeks out more competent hands and more prepared minds, and you've spent the entire year preparing to be that recipient. Don't fear falling prices if the fundamentals of what you own are solid. Fear losing your own ability to think clearly under pressure. History is written by those who keep their cool when everyone else loses their minds, and this plan has trained you for precisely that. The simplicity of this plan is its greatest strength, but also its greatest challenge, because human beings tend to seek complexity to justify their inaction or mistakes. Don't look for unnecessary complications. Stick to the basics. Earn more, spend less, save with purpose, and invest wisely in what you truly understand. If you manage to do these 4 things well for 12 months, you will have done more for your future than 95% of the world's population will in a lifetime. You don't need to be a math whiz to be rich. You just need to avoid being a slave to your impulses and have a bit of common sense applied rigorously. In moments of doubt, which will inevitably arise, remember that this plan isn't based on empty hopes, but on the very mechanics of how the world works and how value is created. Every dollar in your safe haven account is proof that the system works and that you have the power to influence your material reality through reason. Don't let the skepticism of others or your own fear derail you from execution. Stay the course with the steadfastness of a navigator who trusts their instruments and their training. The goal is there, waiting for you, and every day that passes brings you one step closer to crossing the finish line into your new life. Your time is your scarcest and most valuable resource. Don't waste it on cheap entertainment that offers no benefit while you're in the midst of a complete financial rebuild. Every hour spent studying how businesses operate or how to improve your productivity is an investment that will pay dividends for the rest of your life. Learn to enjoy the learning process and the satisfaction of becoming a little more competent and a little wiser each day than the day before. Intellectual curiosity is the engine that keeps an investor's mind young. And it's what has kept Warren and me active and enthusiastic until the very end. As you close out this 2026 cycle, do so with your head held high and a peaceful heart, knowing that you have done what very few dare to do. Take full responsibility for your life. You have gone from being a passenger to the driver, and the road ahead is as wide and bright as your capacity to remain rational allows. Money will come and go, but the character you have forged this year is an eternal possession that defines you and sustains you through any future circumstance. Well done, You have shown that starting from scratch is not the end of the story, but the beginning of an epic tale of overcoming challenges and achieving true success. Always remember that true wealth isn't measured by what you own, but by what you would have left if you lost all your money tomorrow: your knowledge, your integrity, and your method. With this plan, you've ensured that even if you had to start from scratch again in 2030 or 2040, you would know exactly what to do to climb back to the top. That is ultimate freedom, not depending on external circumstances, but on your own internal capacity to create value and manage resources wisely. You are now a financial force of nature, a sovereign individual who has learned to master the game of money instead of being mastered by it. May wisdom guide you every step of the way, patience be your most faithful ally, and the joy of building something lasting give you the energy to always move forward. 2026 will be remembered by you as the year you awoke to the reality of your own power and decided to use it to create a life of abundance and profound meaning. There's no turning back once you've seen how the machinery of rational success works. Now all that remains is to continue growing, learning, and contributing value to the world. Go forward, the future is yours, built on the solid foundation of your discipline and your unwavering commitment to truth and logic. Finally, when you reach your goals, help others find this same path of rationality and effort, sharing not only your wealth, but also the method that allowed you to create it from nothing. Worldly wisdom is a legacy that grows when shared, and there is no greater satisfaction than seeing others break free from their financial chains thanks to good advice and an even better example. You have fulfilled your part of the bargain with destiny, and now destiny will fulfill its part by giving you the fruits of your perseverance and your intelligence applied to the real world. Enjoy your freedom. You have earned it with every difficult decision you made during this year of total and absolute transformation.